Hi babies and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Hina J Bryan aka Bookish Babe and I am back with another video. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm on my way out. It's bank holiday, it's banky and I'm on my way out to shake a leg with my friends. But I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about my 10 favorite books currently. When I first started my YouTube channel, I actually made a video regarding my 10 favorite books to launch my channel. And since then, I would say that the list has changed just a little bit. So I just wanted to update you guys. I'm considering this a relaunch. I'm considering this a reset of my channel. Now that I'm out of the depression, I'm out of the anxiety, and I have a fresh outlook on life and I'm much happier, I thought that I would just share my top 10 reads of all time currently again. So the first book on my list is Wuthering by Emily Bronte. And guys, I'm actually a big fan of classic literature. Obviously, as I've grown as a reader, I've become more interested in books by African and Caribbean authors or authors of ethnic minorities, simply because, I don't know if you've realized, but your girl is black and I am blackity black. But Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights will always just be on my list. I feel like it was, for me, it was just a very interesting, well-written portrayal of toxic love and madness and mental health, and I absolutely loved it. And I read this some time ago and it's still on my list, and sadly it has not moved. I do like other classic books, but this has to be my favorite. I absolutely love the relationship between Catherine and Heathcliff. I love the racial ambiguity of Heathcliff's identity. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry. Obviously, the pro-blackers will probably be like, you know, that's a bit mad, but it's still on my list. I'm sorry. What am I meant to do? I'm sorry. But yeah, that is definitely one of my favorites, and that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So the next book on my list is Things I Have Withheld by Kei Miller. Now, this is new to the list, and this is a book that was published in 2021. And guys, I read it this year and I cried. I actually cried. I cried. I remember reading it in bed and I was lying down, like, you know, on my elbow. And I just remember sitting up thinking, this book is incredible. It's non-fiction, and you know that's wild for me. It's a collection of personal essays regarding things that Kei Miller has withheld during his life, things that he was afraid to say, and he's basically put them in this book. And it's fantastic. It's all about the body and how the body is different in different settings, and how the body is different when it comes to different languages. It's just a beautiful exploration of blackness in real life, in real time as well. And Kei Miller talks a lot about his sexuality and his queerness and where he feels safe, and you know, he compares his queerness in the UK. My phone is buzzing. He compares his queerness in the UK and his queerness in Jamaica, which I don't know if you know, but it's quite a homophobic country. I'm actually from Jamaica, and you know, he makes it so plain that he feels more comfortable in Jamaica as a gay man simply because he knows what his body means on that territory. And then he talks about how when he's in the UK or when he's in the Western world as a gay person, he feels like he has to be performative so that he doesn't come across intimidating, because before he is gay, before he's queer, he's a black man and he's tall and he's, you know, he's perceived as intimidating. And guys, this collection of personal essays, the best I have ever read. Since then, I've wanted Kei Miller to be my mentor. I love him. I want to know him. Let's just be honest. I'm going to be honest. I want to know him. I don't fangirl celebrities in this life because really and truly, no. But I fangirl authors. I do. And I am Kei Miller's biggest fan, and no one can talk to me about that. But yeah, his writing is phenomenal, by the way. So poetic. It has so much, I would say that it compares to James Baldwin, and there is actually one personal essay in the collection where he's addressing letters to James Baldwin. And again, it's just a testament to James Baldwin's influence and how great he was, because child, in life and death, people love James Baldwin, and I found that amazing. But yeah, that is definitely number 2 on my list. Number 3 is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. Now, if you've been following me for a while, if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I have a very weird relationship with Bernardine Evaristo. Since I discovered that she has Twitter and that she tweets really kind of like pro-monarchist, pro-colonialist things, I find it quite hard to like her as an individual. However, Girl, Woman, Other for me is the best literary fiction I have ever read in my entire life, and I am just so happy that she produced such a work, and I'm hoping that despite her tweets that all the topics that she explored in Girl, Woman, Other, she actually believes are true to her and that she holds them dear to her heart. And Girl, Woman, Other is basically a collection of interweaving short stories that basically come together to just make the perfect story. It explores sexuality and queerness and basically the spectrum of sexuality and where all these different women land on it, and I just found it absolutely beautiful. I felt like Bernardine Evaristo done well in portraying all different types of women. I'm just blessed to have read something so phenomenal, and I would love if more people read it. I know some people actually said that they found it a bit boring, they felt like it dragged, but yeah, Bernardine Evaristo's Girl, Woman, Other is definitely up there, and it's not going anytime soon. And the next book on my list is, and guys, I have to say this is my favorite book of all time. I just feel like the authors, it's like everything was perfect in this book. The storytelling was perfect, the writing was perfect, the characterization was perfect, the setting was perfect, everything was perfect in this book, and it is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare. Since I spoke about The Girl with the Louding Voice in my first video, I have had countless conversations with Abi Dare. My first ever Bookish Babe book club nominated The Girl with the Louding Voice as the read, and we basically had Abi Dare there to answer some questions, and honestly, it's a phenomenal book. If you tell me that you did not like The Girl with the Louding Voice, I just assume that you're bad vibes, you're bad energy, and you need to stay far, far away from me. The Girl with the Louding Voice is basically about a young girl called Ayanna who goes through all these different trials and tribulations, and she basically has this massive dream of basically getting an education so that she can impart knowledge onto others and basically uplift others. And it's honestly just the best book I've ever read. It definitely taught me empathy. Like Ayanna, she's fictional, but in this life, I would adopt Ayanna. I would want Ayanna to be my friend. I actually posted on my TikTok when I started to take TikTok seriously. This was the first book I posted. It got 500,000 views, and so many people commented saying, oh my God, I love this book. So many people went and read the book and then came back and commented saying, oh my God, I cried whilst reading it. And I just don't see how you can like not like this book. And I'm not gonna lie, there's one boy who told me that he didn't like it, and he proved himself to be bad vibes. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're bad vibes. But yeah, this book, the best book I've ever read, and it's been what, 4 years since I read it, and yeah, I guess people have to get writing, innit? But the best book I ever read, the best. So the next book on my list is When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lloyd Banwo, and this again is a recent read. It's this book was published in 2022, guys, and you know how I've been talking about the fact that I read The Girl with the Louding Voice, and it's been quite difficult to find a book that really shapes me. Well, When We Were Birds, impossible. Like I don't even know what to say. Okay, I'm gonna start by saying that Ayanna Lloyd Banwo is unbelievably talented. Unbelievably talented. The way I enjoyed this book, like, it made me feel sad, it made me feel happy, it made me feel hopeful. It's like magical realism with, there's a bit of you know, there's a bit of romance in there. It's super literary, it's like fantastically written. You know, Ayanna's Caribbean and the book is set in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's just, it has all the language and the patois and the lingo weaved through it, and it's just one of the most beautiful books that I've read since the Girl with the Louding Voice. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's basically about oh God, my eye. It's basically about two star-crossed lovers, and it's very weird because the female protagonist, she comes from a family lineage of people who basically guide spirits to the afterlife, and Darwin is a Rastafarian, and he comes from a family that obviously hold very religious views about the dead and dealing with dead bodies, and Darwin decides to become a grave digger, and basically the book is about how they meet and how these two people who had no relation to one another at the start of the book are destined in both life and death to be with one another. And when I read this, I was like, wow, like I can't wait to fall in love. Obviously, it won't be anything with magic in there because child, we're not the devil, child. This book, fantastic read. Everyone that has read it has come back to me and said that they absolutely loved it. And I just want more people to read it because I absolutely loved it. And wow. Wow. Ayanna Lloyd Banwo. So the next book on my list is Native Son by Richard Wright. And guys, like I've been speaking about this book for a really, really long time. Richard Wright is still my favorite black male author, I think. Yeah, he is. Obviously, I did say that, you know, Kai Miller came and kind of took, you know, he's on par, and obviously James Baldwin's on par, but Native Son by Richard Wright will always be a top 10 book. If you haven't read it, it's super literary, but it is basically about a young man called Bigger Thomas who, because of his environment, is basically destined to become a stereotypical black man. And when I say a stereotypical black man, I mean a stereotypical black man for a certain time in America when it comes to how white people perceived black men and black people to be. And they perceived black men to be aggressive, murderers, rapists, and thieves, and all these different things. And it's basically about how Bigger Thomas it was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where he was scared of becoming these things, and because he was so terrified of becoming these things and he was trying so hard not to become these things, he ended up becoming these things. And it was just a fantastic book that comments on blackness and black masculinity and the white gaze and, you know, America. And again, one of my favorite books of all time. Is beautifully written, but I have to say that Richard Wright his writing is quite particular, it's quite peculiar, and I feel like you have to be prepared to be quite open-minded because the book is very long, the font is very small, and he explores a lot of real life things, and it's quite heavy. Like the entire book is quite heavy, but I absolutely loved it. And yeah, like again, one of my top books of all time. So the next book on my list is The Book of Negroes by Lawrence Hill, and I read this again some time ago. And The Book of Negroes, I feel like I love like young female protagonists, young black female protagonists, and I love books that are quite coming of age and that, you know, show someone's progression. And The Book of Negroes is a perfect example of that. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, you know I don't like recommending slave narratives on this channel because I want more black people to read like books that bring them joy and make them cry for good reasons, because, you know, they feel empathetic towards a black person who has gone through a very like normal real life thing, as opposed to they feel like burdened and like dulled down by the trauma that is like explored throughout a book. But I would definitely say that The Book of Negroes it's like a positive twist on slavery. And I don't mean it in the sense that, you know, slavery is good, but it ends quite well. And it's basically about a young girl who is captured by the racist, by the colonialist, by the people who weren't meant to be there, and she's taken to America. And it's basically about how she basically goes from being a slave to being free, and to contributing to basically the fight for black slaves to be free. And it's an amazing book. It was a fantastic read. Obviously it's quite unrealistic because that wasn't the reality of the situation, and it had a very positive ending. It wasn't positive for a lot of slaves who were enslaved, but I really loved the book. I felt like it was well written. It was, for me, as I said, I don't like traumatic books, so I felt like I loved this one because it was just, it was like an unrealistic ending, but it made me feel good at the end. There's also a TV adaptation called, I think it's called Nobody Knows My Name, and I watched it from beginning to end. I don't know, yeah, I watched it from beginning to end and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, you should watch it as well. If you don't want to read the book, then I would definitely say watch the series. I'm a big fan of books being adapted, so, you know. But yeah, I absolutely love that book. And I will bring it with me to the grave, to the grave, to the grave. Yeah. And the next book on my list is Normal People by Sally Rooney. And again, guys, do not drag me. Do not drag me. This is definitely, as he said, you know, sadness, persevering. When I read this book, like I read this book when I had come out of a romantic situation with someone. I can't even call it romantic because he was a dickhead. However, I came out of a situation with someone, and I remember reading this book and thinking, oh my God, it's speaking to me and my love for this. And it wasn't speaking because there was no love there. But I love Normal People by Sally Rooney. Obviously, it's extremely white, and now, like, Sally Rooney was one of my favorite authors, but now as she's grown as an author, I don't find it as relatable, and I think that's completely okay. She's made it very clear that she writes books for, you know, white Irish women mainly, and it's okay to have an audience. It doesn't have to be me. Do you know what I mean? I can only tap into it and experience what you write for others, and I feel like that's what I love about literature. And I absolutely love Normal People because I felt like it was just a real life portrayal of how love can be quite toxic and how it can be quite stressful and how it's never that easy. Obviously, it's clear that both the female main character and the male character in the book were super anxious people. As someone who was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, I know how both characters feel. I loved it. Obviously, it's literary fiction. It ends and you're just like, oh, okay. Again, there is a TV adaptation, and I adored the TV adaptation. I actually got to listen, so much has happened since I started this YouTube channel. I got to watch that on an exclusive, and I got to basically share some thoughts with the BBC about what I thought about the book, and it was published online, and I'm gonna find everything and put it everywhere. But yeah, Sally Rooney, Normal People is one of my favorites. And I love Sally Rooney's style of writing. Like, a lot of people find it terrible, or a lot of people find that her books are like boring. But, you know, when you're a literary fiction lover, like, you kind of love the mundane, you love the real life, you're a realist, you like things that are just like true to life. So that's why I loved it, and I would definitely recommend it. Less so if you're a black person, because I feel like if you're going to read literary fiction, you should start off with literary fiction by black authors, an easy way in. And I feel like obviously when you start off with literary fiction by black authors, you get to see whether the genre and the style of writing is for you. But yeah, like, I feel like everyone's read Normal People by Sally Rooney. If you haven't, then if you're missing, are you missing out? A lot of people say no, but I feel like you should give it a go and then like decide for yourself whether you're missing out. So the next book on my list is Going to Meet the Man by James Baldwin. I believe this was on my list the last time I made a top 10 favorite books of all time for now video. And again, James Baldwin, like, who doesn't love James Baldwin? James Baldwin is, I would say, probably the most influential black male queer writer out there, both in life and in death. Sorry, my phone's ringing. But yeah, James Baldwin again is just the best. Like, he's so influential in both life and death, and his work is so lyrical and rhythmic. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, his work is just so phenomenal, and yeah, like, it's hard to knock his work. And Going to Meet the Man is a collection of short stories exploring different topics of black men and blackness and you know, the black experience. And I would definitely say that my favorite two reads, I would say, Sunny's Blues and The Rock Pile. I think that's what the first one's called, The Rock Pile and Sunny's Blues. And I think Sunny's Blues was made into a book of its own. I can't actually remember, but yeah, like, Baldwin is definitely a writer that you can read over and over again. He's got so many publications, and he explores blackness, black masculinity, being black in America, being black and queer. And yeah, he's definitely like the it guy, and I feel like it's hard to say that you don't like him. And the final book that I want to touch on is The Dew Breaker by Edwidge Danticat. And I feel like I've got quite a few books by black authors on this list. And again, here we are with Edwidge Danticat, and is another Caribbean author. The book is basically explores the lives of Haiti people, both on the motherland and both in the diaspora. And it's Another beautiful collection of interweaving short stories. I actually love collections of interweaving short stories where it's like different people tell different fragments, and honestly, Edwidge did so much with this, and I need to read more of this author's work. I feel like I haven't read enough, and you know, I read this book quite a long time ago, and it was just like, wow, like you are just a phenomenal writer. There were so many different instances where I just felt like the plot devices, the character development and everything in between was just on point. And again, it's just another book that I would highly recommend people to read. But yeah, guys, that is my updated list of my favorite books of all time. And I feel like there are like maybe 3 or 4 new books, but the rest are are basically the same. And I feel like as I read, my list is going to change, and I feel like it's a challenge that is accepted as to whether, you know, an author can write a book as amazing as the books are on my list currently, that I basically bump them off and say, okay, this author's on here, and I've bumped a few off and I've placed these authors on my list. And obviously my new additions are what are they? It is When We Were Birds. It is Things I Have Withheld. I think those are my only new additions. Let me check. Yeah. Wow, those are my only new additions, and it's been what, like 2 years since I started this channel. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, I am coming back with more content. I'm in a better space, and I've got so many things I want to discuss with you guys. I've got so many books I want to talk to you guys about. I've got so many ways I want to explore my love for books and literature and publishing and the literary sphere with you guys. And I hope that you just bear with me. I know that I've been promising you guys content for a very, very long time, but I am really, really trying. Content will be, for now, uploaded every 10 days, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Please follow me across all social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter as Hina J Bryan. I'm also on Goodreads as Hina J Bryan as well, but I'm yet to jump back on my Goodreads. But yeah, very, very soon with Goodreads, because that place is amazing. And also subscribe to the Bookish Babe book club if you want to be invited to live events in London though, but hopefully one of these days global, because why not? But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I love you guys so much. I don't think you guys know that, but yeah, I'm about to head out and have fun with my friends. And yeah, until the next time, guys, bye.